Hey everybody, no, it's not a gun video, it's a knife video. This is what I'm carrying as my E.D.C, my everyday carry knife today. And you probably saw a picture of this recently that I posted because I've been carrying it for a while. Every time I get this knife out to carry, it ends up, instead of going back in the duffel bag here, or the backpack, it ends up going back in my pocket for another day, I'll say, and then next thing you know, it's another couple of days or so, and it's just hard to put down once you get it out. I really enjoy carrying it. It's the CRKT Columbia River Knife and Tool Wrinkle. This knife was designed by Ken Onion, and look how buttery smooth this thing is, man. It is, oh, ridiculously smooth. I'm serious. Gravity alone closes this knife every time. It's just so buttery smooth. And I did just put some oil, a drop or two of oil on it, but seriously, it doesn't need it unless it gets a little gummed up from dust or lint in your pocket. It does have the IKBS Ball Bearing System. IKBS meaning Iconocorth Bearing System. And it's so smooth. But this knife can be whatever you want it to be, basically. Whether it be a hard use knife for the day, or maybe just a gentleman's folder for the evening. That's what this knife is all about. It's lightweight enough, and the size is perfect for any type task that I just mentioned. And as I said earlier, Ken Onion from Hawaii designed this knife. I've talked with Ken Onion on numerous occasions at Blade Show in Atlanta, and last year I had the chance to interview him, and we did talk. So if you want to check on my YouTube shows, the ones that I do have, you'll have to go down the list. I'm not sure how far down it goes, but it's they're there. They're down there somewhere. Eventually you'll find it. So start looking. I was putting that knife down just so I can show you something here. And by the way, it has AUS 8, AUS 8 steel. There it is right there in all its glory. And this knife is unfortunately one of those knives that you're not going to find anytime soon because they're no longer available. They're discontinued. But if you do find one, I would say you might want to grab it. There are several different colors that you can choose from. That is I call it a poop brown. Back when they sold, can you believe that? Around $25. Yeah, $23.99, $24 at Blade HQ back when they sold originally. Now, I'll have to tell you, the same version of this knife with the words Snap-on across the top of the blade, Snap-on, cost, or at the time rather, cost around $130 to $140 or $50. Just to have that logo on there, I would pay that extra to not have the Snap-on logo on my knife. But unfortunately, that's not how they saw it. And they did these a run of knives just for Snap-on tools. At the Snap-on guy could load it onto his tool truck that they drive from town to town, city to city, and stop by these area businesses and shops. Mechanics get the opportunity to buy their tools, and they would have a Snap-on knife available on the, hopefully, if you're lucky enough, on the truck. So that is the CRKT Wrinkle without the Snap-on logo imprinted on the blade. They only did a few of those knives like this without Snap-on written on it. And honestly, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, for that I am truly grateful. I really am. I mean, I thought that it took away from the knife to have that big old Snap-on name written across it. So some of the information, for those of you wondering, we'll go down the list right here on specs. The overall length of the knife is 6.75, which I would consider probably a small size for something that I look for in a knife. If I were out hunting for a knife and this one came across my path, then I would say 6.75. Wow, that's a little small for me. Usually I never purchase a knife at around 7 inches, but that's okay because this one is different. And every now and then you like to try different things, right? Well, that's the way it was back when I got this, when I first started collecting knives. And you'll see me doing some high top bragging on this knife. It's just because that's one of my favorites. It really is. You may feel the same, you may not. It's a hollow grind blade, if you can check it out, which is pretty cool, I think. I like hollow grind. And right there's the Ken Onion design wrinkle logo printed on there, and the IKBS logo too. Some other things you might want to know. The blade I said earlier is made out of AUS 8, AUS 8 material, which is a good steel, I think. Some other guys may not like AUS 8. Some do. It varies. Every person's different. I like the way that this knife is textured and contoured because it really fits great. The ergonomics when you put it in your hand are really fantastic, I think. The way it fits right there is perfect. I mean, it could be a little bit longer, to go into the back part of my palm of my hand, but that's okay. Another thing I would change for certain is that it's a one direction pocket clip, unfortunately. Yeah, the pocket clip is unfortunately a tip down, as they call it, because you put it in your pocket like this, and the tip of the blade is pointing down in your pocket. In other words, if you were to reach in and want to bring it out, it would be backwards. And it makes it a little bit easier to deploy if the knife is put in your pocket the way you need it to be drawn out in the event or case of an emergency. So that would make it tip up. That's one of my preferences too. I prefer a tip up instead of a tip down, because if you were to pull it out and try and deploy this knife from this direction and it's sitting in your pocket, then that's the way you want to reach in and grab it to pull it out to deploy it. It would already be in the proper orientation as far as ups or downs go, okay? All right, folks, that is a little bit of an update. I had a buddy ask me to put in some more info on my post, and instead of doing that, I thought, heck, I'll just go ahead and do a video for you. And this is for everybody else as well. If you are into knives, maybe this will show you a little bit of something. But this is a really great knife for opening or flipping. You can quickly deploy this knife, and it locks in place with a wham, a bam, a secure, very, very secure liner lock. This is a liner lock knife. And I probably can say easily enough I prefer a frame lock instead of a liner lock. And for those of you that don't know, a liner is something like this line or liner that's put inside the knife to stop up against the blade. It's a blade lock or stop, you might say. But if it's a frame lock, then this particular piece is made out of the entire piece of steel or whatever it's made from. So I like that particular aspect of knives. I prefer a frame lock over a liner lock, but that's okay. I have taken all of that into consideration, and I still love this knife. Yeah, it would be hard for you to get this one from me, I'll be honest. All right, folks, I am wrapping it up now, and I do appreciate you guys looking and watching the video. I certainly do thank you. There you go. That's what it looks like with a Snap-on logo on it. And I would prefer just the CRKT logo like mine. I would have actually asked them if they could print one without the Snap-on, but didn't have to. They printed up a few just like that. I think specifically for me. Thanks, guys. And I appreciate it once again. I hope you guys get out and have a fantastic day today, okay? All right. Peace, everybody.